Let's get started with our first news. Khabib recently shared his thoughts about the welterweight division as the fight between Islam and JDM draws closer. While the matchup hasn't been finalized yet, it's only a matter of time before it becomes official. Khabib believes there are only a few legitimate contenders who could present real challenges to Islam if he captures the welterweight crown. He pointed out that in his eyes, Shavkat is someone who demands respect and brings genuine risk. He also mentioned Belal while making it clear that others, like Garry, don't stand out as much in terms of serious threat. When it came to Sean Brady, Khabib was even more direct. He stated that stylistically, Brady is too favorable of a matchup for Islam. According to him, Islam would outstrike Brady on the feet, and if it came down to grappling, Islam would control him with ease. He acknowledged Brady as a strong, good fighter, but he doesn't see him as a dangerous challenge. Khabib boiled it down to a short list of names, Shavkat, Belal, and JDM as the true factors that matter in this division right now. Shavkat in particular was already lined up as the next in line after his impressive win over Garry. However, his momentum took a hit after he suffered a knee injury. On top of that, his wife was also involved in a serious car accident, which has understandably affected his activity and future plans. Despite those setbacks, Khabib believes Shavkat's presence still looms large in the division. His skill set, undefeated record, and overall aura make him one of the few men who can really test Islam at 170 pounds once he returns healthy. As for Belal, Khabib sees him as someone with enough experience and toughness to make things interesting, even if he doesn't necessarily bring the same level of danger as Shavkat. Meanwhile, JDM is right in the spotlight now. With Islam moving up to challenge him, that fight is shaping up as a pivotal moment not just for Islam's legacy, but also for the direction of the welterweight division itself. For Khabib, the picture is clear. There are only a handful of names that truly matter at welterweight when it comes to testing Islam. Everyone else, no matter how solid or talented, doesn't present the kind of danger or risk that could derail Islam's path. The upcoming clash with JDM will be the first real test of this new chapter, and the names Shavkat and Belal remain close behind, waiting for their opportunity. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We're constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That's why we'd truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Move on to another news. The MMA world exploded when Khamzat made waves by publicly calling out Islam for the very first time. This immediately set the stage for what could become a massive super fight between Khamzat and Team Khabib, something fans had never seriously expected to see. The idea of these two forces colliding instantly captured attention, creating buzz about a potential clash that could redefine the sport. Islam's response to the call-out was calm, calculated, and measured. He stated that he'd be open to facing Khamzat at some point down the line, but he didn't want to create unnecessary tension between their people, given their shared culture and religion. That respectful and careful answer, however, did not land well with everyone. In fact, many fans across the MMA community viewed Islam's stance as overly cautious. Some even suggested it came across as hesitant, maybe even scared, especially when compared to the intensity of Khamzat's direct challenge. After all, Khamzat wasn't just calling him out for a fight, he was calling him out for the pound-for-pound #1 spot, raising the stakes far beyond just another matchup. Naturally, the internet lit up with debate. Fans across social media platforms began dissecting Islam's words, questioning his willingness to engage in such a high-stakes battle. Comparisons quickly spread, especially with Magomed Ankalaev, another champion from Dagestan. Unlike Islam, Ankalaev has openly welcomed the idea of facing Khamzat, showing a boldness and confidence that some feel Islam hasn't matched. That comparison only fueled the fire, with fans wondering why Islam didn't project the same fearless energy. Meanwhile, Khamzat, who recently secured the middleweight title, did not hold back in his response. He fired back at Team Khabib, making it clear that there's nothing wrong with calling out big fights. To him, this is the essence of competition. Fighters stepping into the cage to test themselves against the very best. He reminded everyone that Khabib himself had always competed for sport, not personal grudges or destruction. Khamzat pointed out that Khabib even fought fellow Muslims during his career, proving that shared faith never stopped him from facing whoever was placed in front of him. This reminder struck a chord with fans who see Khamzat's words as a reflection of his fearless mentality. It's about sport, about legacy, and about proving who truly deserves the top spot. Now, with both sides making statements, the buzz has only intensified. The possibility of a Khamzat versus Islam showdown has fans on edge, calling it one of the most explosive and unforgettable matchups that the UFC could ever deliver. Move on to another news. Ankalaev has made it clear that his upcoming rematch with Alex Pereira at UFC 320 will be a very different story compared to their first meeting. The two are set to face off on October 4th, and Ankalaev is brimming with confidence as he looks to make a statement. He explained that statistics have always shown a dangerous trend for his opponents. When fighters face him in a rematch, things rarely go their way. According to him, the second fight will be much easier because he already knows Pereira's tendencies and weaknesses, and he's prepared to expose them in every possible way. Ankalaev emphasized that he'll do whatever it takes to secure dominance inside the octagon. If the fight requires heavy wrestling, he's more than ready to take it there. If it stays standing, he's confident in his ability to strike and control the exchanges. In his words, there won't be any problems in any area of the fight. He even went as far as saying he might not go for a takedown at all, simply because Pereira will already be expecting it. For Ankalaev, that anticipation works in his favor, allowing him to dictate the rhythm and direction of the battle on his own terms. But beyond just strategy, Ankalaev made it clear he wants this fight to be free of any excuses. He expressed his desire for Pereira to come in at 100%. He doesn't want to hear any talk about injuries, preparation issues, or lack of readiness after the fight. Last time, there were lingering conversations about Pereira not being at his absolute best. This time, Ankalaev wants to erase all doubt. He wants his opponent in peak condition, so when the fight is over, the result speaks for itself with no controversy attached. He also stressed the importance of proving a larger point. In his view, fighters who choose to face him a second time are making a big mistake. His track record shows that his adjustments, his fight IQ, and his ability to break down an opponent the second time around make him an even more dangerous version of himself. That's why he feels confident that this rematch with Pereira won't just be another win but a clear display of superiority. As October 4th approaches, the stage is set for a massive clash at UFC 320. For Ankalaev, it's not just about winning, it's about dominating in every aspect, leaving no room for excuses, and proving once again why facing him in a rematch is a nightmare for any fighter who dares to try. Move on to another news. Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson recently gave their take on one of the most talked about potential fights in the welterweight division, Leon Edwards versus Ian Garry. While the UFC has not yet made this matchup official, many inside the MMA community believe the bout will headline Madison Square Garden this November. From a matchmaking standpoint, some argue that Garry should have faced Sean Brady in what would have been a true title eliminator. That fight, however, never came together. In fact, Brady claimed that Garry turned him down, accusing him of avoiding the matchup altogether. Instead, Garry now finds himself lined up against the reigning champion Leon, a fight that carries massive name value and attention. Both fighters are UK stars, both command large fan followings, and the build-up to this fight will be huge. Big John sees the matchup as a showcase of skill, expecting a high-level, entertaining battle where two technicians display their striking IQ, timing, and precision. He believes fans will be treated to a clash of elite styles, with both men capable of producing a memorable fight. Josh Thompson, however, doesn't share that same enthusiasm. He thinks the bout could end up being a slow-paced affair, even going as far as calling it a potential snooze fest. In his view, both Leon and Garry lean too heavily on their kickboxing, point fighting, and defensive styles. He doesn't see the fight producing highlight reel moments or big fireworks, but instead imagines a cautious chess match with lots of movement and minimal risks being taken. When it comes to stylistics, Leon's strength lies in his precise striking, clean defense, and ability to control distance. He's proven himself against top-tier opponents and has remained one of the most consistent strikers in the division. Garry, on the other hand, is known for his elusiveness, sharp footwork, and confident stand-up game. Big John believes Garry might look to bring the fight to the ground if he feels it's in his favor. However, he doesn't have the traditional wrestling skill set to rely on. He's more of a fighter who learned wrestling later in his career, using his jiu-jitsu transitions to drag opponents down. Against Leon, that could prove very difficult, given the champion's strong takedown defense and composure under pressure. Despite their different takes, both analysts agree that the fight is important for the division. Leon is looking to get back on track after criticism over his recent performances, while Garry has the chance to prove he belongs at the very top. The matchup has the name value, the spotlight, and the storylines to draw massive attention, but whether it delivers non-stop action or becomes a cautious chess match remains to be seen. Move on to another news. With Ilia now officially set to face Justin Gaethje at the start of next year, confirmed by Spanish outlet ABC, the lightweight division is beginning to clear up. One of the matchups that seems all but inevitable is Arman versus Paddy Pimblett. Both fighters have expressed their interest in fighting before the year closes, and this clash would serve as a legitimate title eliminator. For Arman, it's another big step towards cementing himself as the next challenger at lightweight. For Paddy, it's the kind of fight that could either catapult him into real contention or expose him against one of the division's most dangerous rising contender. But while Arman prepares for this next phase in his career, details have also surfaced about the role he played in Khamzat's camp leading into the Du Plessis fight. According to reports, Arman was a key figure in that preparation. He spent time carefully watching and studying Du Plessis footage, analyzing the South African's unique and awkward striking style. Once he understood the patterns, Arman taught Khamzat's sparring partners how to mimic DDP's movements in training. On top of that, he also oversaw multiple sparring sessions, ensuring things didn't spiral out of control given how intense the energy can get inside Khamzat's gym. By all accounts, Arman was fully invested in helping Khamzat secure the belt, showing the kind of fight IQ and leadership that goes far beyond his own performances inside the cage. Even with his stock on the rise, Arman hasn't avoided criticism. Recently, Renato Moicano unleashed a harsh rant aimed directly at him. Moicano didn't hold back, going on for over a minute trashing Arman's skills and character. He expressed a strong personal dislike for him, insisting that if Ilia ever stepped into the cage against Arman, it wouldn't even be close. In his words, Ilia would destroy him. Moicano criticized Arman's style, his demeanor, and dismissed the hype surrounding him as exaggerated. His comments struck a nerve in the community, sparking debate about whether Moicano's words were honest analysis or simply personal bias. Regardless of the criticism, Arman remains in a powerful position. His contributions to Khamzat's camp only showcased his sharp fight mind, and his potential matchup with Paddy represents one of the most intriguing fights in the lightweight division. With Ilia tied up against Gaethje, the winner of Arman versus Paddy would be perfectly positioned to make a claim for the next shot. The division is shifting quickly, and while some voices like Moicano's try to discredit him, Arman's presence at the top of the conversation is undeniable. For him, the path is clear: beat Paddy, silence the critics, and take one step closer to the gold. Move on to another news. Du Plessis has found himself under heavy criticism following his loss to Khamzat at UFC 319. One of the loudest voices came from Ikram Aliskerov, who openly called the former champion's performance shameful. For nearly 24 out of the 25 minutes inside the cage, Du Plessis was overwhelmed by Khamzat's relentless pressure, struggling to stop the non-stop wrestling attack. According to Aliskerov, a champion should never look that lost in the grappling department. Speaking in an interview with Islam Babadzanov, he explained that when you carry the label of champion, you must prove why you're a champion, especially when it comes to wrestling defense and overall composure under pressure. Meanwhile, Khamzat has wasted no time enjoying his victory tour as the newly crowned middleweight king. Cameras even caught him landing a playful body shot on a fan, who took it without flinching, adding to Khamzat's aura of dominance and fearlessness following UFC. While Khamzat basks in the glory, questions swirl around Du Plessis and whether he has what it takes to climb back to the top of the division. Du Plessis' head coach remains optimistic, insisting his fighter can regroup and make another run at the title. But not everyone agrees. On the Anik and Florian show, Dominic Cruz gave his honest assessment of Du Plessis' performance and his future prospects. Cruz explained that what stood out most was Du Plessis' complete lack of offense from the bottom. He emphasized that when a fighter is taken down, the responsibility isn't just to survive and escape. You must create offense, even from disadvantageous positions. Cruz broke it down further, pointing out that Du Plessis failed to attempt meaningful reversals or attacks. He wasn't chaining together moves like single-leg attempts, double legs, or scrambling into front headlocks. Instead, he was simply trying to get up, which allowed Khamzat to blanket him with pressure. In Cruz's eyes, that type of defensive-only approach will never be enough against elite wrestlers. He made it clear that champions need to build offense even when pinned, otherwise they'll continue to get dominated by grappling-heavy fighters. Looking back at the fight, Cruz noted the massive gap in levels between the two men. It wasn't just that Khamzat won, it was the way he won, systematically breaking down du Plessis and leaving him without answers. The contrast made it look like they were operating on two completely different tiers of ability. Whether du Plessis can prove his coach right and return stronger remains to be seen, but UFC 319 left the impression that he has serious adjustments to make. For now, critics like Ankalaev and analysts like Cruz agree on one thing: his performance that night fell well short of championship standards.